Hey there, so are you ready for some ChatGPT magic? If you are in the call center representative type of environment, you design training for that. I've done that in the past. Then, and if it's health insurance, that will even be better. I'm going to do something interesting today with ChatGPT. We're going to find out if ChatGPT can help you do needs analysis or give you give you good guidance. So we're going to give it a beginner's sort of prompt, and then we're going to give it more specific prompt and see what the outcomes are on that, and then I'll give you my thoughts on it. Let's go.
Core praxis.
Okay, so in this one, we're going to start easy, right? We're going just to say, hey, I don't know, I think I need to develop a HIPAA course for health insurance call center representatives. What would a good training needs analysis look like? Let's see. Okay, so here's the outcome. We have seven points. It's giving us 7.7 things to follow. So the first thing that it says is identify training goals and objectives. So compliance, obviously the compliance requirements, things like that. Okay, cool. That's kind of based on course development. So we'll see what happens there. This is pretty much, it's based on course development yet. If we're doing good training needs analysis, we're going to identify first whether training is an issue or not, or if it is a course, what would that be, right? So target audience, that's a good point. So it's looking at target audience, saying that we need to understand the background of call center representatives. This is a good point for us to pay attention to, because on the next prompt, we're going to make sure that we explain that, and that will help. So this is how it helps you to write good prompts. It's the practice, right? If this pointing this out, saying understand the background of the call center and the previous experience, now we can say, hey, these participants do not have any background, any healthcare background, nor do they know HIPAA. And then we'll go from that. Analyze job roles and responsibilities. So that's good. Specific duties. Outline the specific duties of the call center representatives that relate to handling PHI and other sensitive information. So that is good. That is getting into job task analysis. Pretty over the top. Pretty just, surfacing, but it's good. And risk assessment. Identify areas where HIPAA violations are most likely to occur. Good. That's also great, because you want to train things that are going to be frequent, and you're going to train things that are going to be important, valuable. So that's a key component of task analysis. And then let's see, determine the training content. Okay, so now we're getting into content. Fine. Select training methods. All right, so at this point, it's it already went a little bit past analysis, where it's now getting into a design, and then the evaluation criteria is interesting. So in pre and post training tests, so that's good, because that will give us a starting point, an end point, right? So you started here, you didn't know anything, or you did well, you didn't do well. You took the tests after, or you took a whatever assessment after the course, you did well. How well did you do, right? So performance metrics, call handling. Yep. And so if you're in a call center, you want to do this in collaboration with the folks that run the call center and run the analytics. Workforce management usually is their name. So you want to do that. And then collect feedback from participants, areas of improvement in future training sessions. Good. Based on that. All right, great. So this is the basic one. 7 points. It hits many of the good things that we can find. Now let's find out what would be if we give it a little bit more specificity in our prompt. All right, we're starting brand new here with another chat. At this point, I'm saying this is nothing I said before, you are an expert instructional systems designer, and we need to develop a HIPAA course for health insurance call center representatives. What will be a good training needs analysis? What would a good training needs analysis?
It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
What would a good training needs analysis look like if we follow Robert Branson's guidance as documented in the Inner Service Procedures for Instructional Systems Design Model, aka ADDIE? All right. And one thing we want to do here is add participants have no healthcare background or experience with HIPAA. All right, here we go. All right, got that one down. Let's go. Hey there, my friend, you're awesome. And if you're a subscriber, you're amazing. But just wanted to bring to your attention, you probably see some cool stock footage video brought in this video. And that is because I'm using Jupyter. Jupyter is this cool tool that allows you to just upload your video and then select certain text, and it will add stock media to your video. So it saves a ton of time because, you know, you don't have to spend all that time looking into pixels and finding videos, downloading it, cutting it, putting it in there. So check it out. Links in the description. All right. So here are the results of what we got. It's interesting. Well, we'll see. Identify instructional goals. So before, when we went in the other one, we had our comparison is identify training goals and objectives. This is identify instructional goals. Understand organizational needs. Very important. Start by understanding why the organization believes this training is necessary. Big thing, right? Why is it necessary? Why? Because you may be asked, and usually in training departments, you're going to be approached with the idea of training, with the idea of a course. This is a determination someone else is making that has no clue as to what is involved and what is needed. What they are doing is reacting. They have a knee-jerk reaction to something they might have seen, or maybe some data they're having on 2 agents out of 100. So why would you train a bunch of people if only 2 people are messing up? Why would you train a bunch of people if perhaps there are some behavioral and systemic things around those 2 people that are causing the issues? So you have to look at that information, because otherwise training is not going to do anything. Now, you can do all the training you want. Is, 3 months later, you're going to have the same request, or maybe even sooner than that. And in this situation with HIPAA, it is a very important thing because you can't mess around with that. It may end up into what is called a CAP, or a corrective action plan, or a correction action plan. So, and that means that it's in situations like Medicare and Medicaid. Those are government-run programs. That will be that's not a good thing. It takes a lot of time. It takes time and resources from insurance companies, and they have to show then that they have taken certain steps. And guess what? Some of those steps will involve training. So there we go. So define HIPAA's relevance. That's interesting. Instructional goals, what the organizational needs are. Define the relevance. Clearly define how HIPAA regulations impact daily operations. I find that interesting because our second point for training goals and objectives is based more on the skill development or PHI and stuff like that. This is going more like, okay, why do you care about HIPAA? Which aligns with adult training and learning principles. Although I will say this is not necessarily following everything to the T when it comes to the original ADDIE or the IPISD model. But this does. Conduct a job analysis. Very clear thing if we're going to compare it to the other one, which was assess the target audience. This is conduct a job analysis first. The first thing you got to look at is the job and the requirements of the job. Because why? Because your audience, whoever your audience is, if you're in a workplace, they're going to do the job. So if you don't analyze the job, then it doesn't matter how much you tell me you love the learner and you care about the learner. You have to analyze the job. So list the specific tasks and responsibilities of call center representatives related to HIPAA compliance. So this is parallel in some respect to some of the other pieces that were mentioned in the other one. Establish performance standards. Big one. Determine the standards for acceptable performance in these tasks, which could include accuracy, confidentiality levels, and response times. That is huge, and that should be part of your needs analysis. In other words, you may want to ask the person that's asking you for training, hey, so what do we expect people to do in terms of metrics after this training? What is it now and what it should be after training? So they say, hey, we got we got people messing up. We got like 3 different violations, minor violations, but yet violations every week. We need to take that down to 1. Okay, is that in a group? How many people? Whatever the case. But let's say if we're addressing a specific agent. Hey, this agent is messing up about 3 times per quarter. We need to bring that down to 1. Okay, now you have something to look at. You have something to go after. All right, let's go to the next one. Hey, analyze the audience, right? Yeah, this one you like. I'm just saying, we all like it, but that's fine. Analyze, assess the learner's background. Gather data on the learner's current knowledge and experience level, considering they have no healthcare background and HIPAA experience. Since we provided that information in the prompt, now it's giving us that detail. Identify the learning preferences. This is not at all. This is an abomination. This is not at all part of Robert Branson's work, especially since Gagne was backing up their work in the IP-ISD model. This should be, I should just burn this right now. I'm not, this is insane. No, bad ChatGPT, bad ChatGPT. All right. Yeah, no. Okay. Why? Well, I don't have to tell you why, but learning styles is just, it's really, there's a study strategy. Learning styles is not a thing. There's not a learning style. If the requirements of the job task, require for the person to be a good communicator, to avoid a bunch of arms, to be able to listen actively, none of that has to do whether you're kinesthetic or visual or none of that stuff. It's the task you need to do. You need to perform the practice activities that will fit those task requirements. It's that simple. All right, identify training needs. Knowledge gaps. Okay, fine, we got the knowledge gaps. Define learning objectives. This is good because it's not jumping into learning objectives. However, it's bad because this is not any reference to a learning objective. Although this is for business goals. This is the SMART model or whatever, specific, measurable, achievable. Now, can it be used? Sure, you can use it. But I'd rather follow Mager's learning objectives for that. And so if I was going to do something here, I would just refine, and we'll do that at the end here. We'll refine the prompt or give it a follow-up prompt and say, hey, look, I don't like number 5. Change it to be Mager's behavioral objectives. We'll do that. Determine content and instructional strategies. Okay, so now it gets into the development pieces. Content, instructional strategies, fine. Assess resources and constraints. Okay, good. That's, yeah. This is implementation pieces. And evaluation. Develop the evaluation plan. Formative and summative evaluations. Good. Ongoing feedback and doing that. Now, however, let's dial into this. Plan for ongoing feedback and revisions during the development process to ensure the training meets its objectives. Yes. Summative. Design assessments to evaluate learners' knowledge and skills after completing the training, ensuring it has effectively met the identified needs. Sure, yes, good. However, in the evaluation plan, which is originally the control stage of the ADDIE model, because it's ADDIC, the original has two components of evaluation there. There's evaluation that you see here, which is related to the training and related to, yes, the people and the performance and whatnot. And then there is also the evaluation of your program, the evaluation of your training. So that can come back from level 1 surveys that target that. Now, I'm not talking about happy sheets and all of that stuff. I'm talking about like, hey, how are the videos helpful in this? Or, hey, how was this assessment help your learning experience? Did the simulations help you out? Did the role play help? Whatever that case is, what do you find more helpful? Job aids or, the course in the LMS, that type of stuff. That will give you information about your design. So there's an evaluation piece here for ADDIE where you're evaluating your effort, what you did, what can be better next time, how can you do it better and in less time. That's super important. All right, this time now that we're going to refine two things. We're going to address the learning styles thing, and then we're also going to refine the objectives piece. So here we go. Okay, so when I refined the prompt, I asked to correct the audience analysis, avoiding the use of learning styles as it does not have any scientific validity. Also, refine how learning objectives are defined following Mager's instructional objectives ABCD method. Mager's didn't necessarily call it that, but that's what most people call it because I think it was Melinda that gave that reference. But in any event, we have problems. ChatGPT is being coached by learning style advocates, and that's a problem. Okay, so again, revised audience analysis says the learner's background. So sure, we'll identify the starting point or what was called as the jump-off point back in the 1900s. Nerd alert. All right. So understand the learner's needs as the preferred methods of receiving information. And any potential barriers to learning, including language proficiency and accessibility requirements. Okay, so that's not bad. That will be part of a job task analysis and an audience analysis. However, the accessibility requirements piece has been kind of thought of as, okay, yes, first of all, you need to address it, obviously, but it's going to be awkward to ask people to identify since they're not required to self-identify. So, if they have accessibility requirements, learning disabilities, dyslexia, whatever the case, not a lot of people are going to come across and tell you, hey, I do suffer from this or that. So you should just do the best to address those things, including language proficiency. Okay, that can be a thing, but ideally, if you already got people working, it's fine. If they're brand new, this is a new hiring batch of folks, then that's different. Focus on the cognitive and practical needs of the learners to ensure the training is effective. Good. So, you're telling me to do the good things here, which is the cognitive and practical needs, but you're still looking for me to find preferred methods of receiving information. So, okay, two things to define here, right? So training is not information. Information can be part of training, but training is not information. Training is an activity-based approach to acquiring skills or practicing skills. That's it. So if you say knowledge and skills, that's fine. Well, to perform the skills, there should be some knowledge, but you got to make sure you don't run into educational background, educational methods of that. because there's a time when you need education and there's a time when you need training. So training and education are two different things, and information can be part of both, but not one doesn't replace the other. So this again is bad. This is not helpful, and anyone that doesn't have experience in instructional design would tend to follow this and not really, it's not gonna be a good product. All right, so let's look at the objectives piece. So I looked at the Maggers ABCD method and kind of gave us the audience, the behavior, the conditions, and degree. Okay, great. That's what we're asking for. And then it's giving us objective 1. Given scenario involving patient information, health insurance call center representatives will accurately determine. So I'm going to give you here, given scenario involving patient information, okay, health insurance call center representatives. So scenario involving patient information, that is a condition. And the health insurance representative is the audience. And determine whether information is considered protected health information or under HIPAA, that's the behavior. And the degree is 90% accuracy on a scenario-based assessment. Good. All right. That is known as a terminal learning objective. So the only thing is that I see is that the ChatGPT is mixing up the terminal learning objective and the enablement objective into one statement. Not bad, as long as you can keep track of what it is and what's going with it. This will have to have a specific set of evaluation tactics if you address the objectives this way, but they are good. So what do you think? Pretty cool video, huh? Well, if you like and subscribe, you're gonna have like 10 days of awesome luck, and if you don't, it's gonna be the Kiva Santeria. We'll see what happens if it works. I don't know, maybe. But in the meantime, catch the next videos.